How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I did not take any trades on NQ. Didn't get any setup that I felt really comfortable with or that I liked in terms of risk to reward. I tried to take one trade and I just didn't get filled on my limit order. So I'll cover the trade that I tried to take and why I took it, well, why I wanted to take it, um, and how that played out. And then we're just going to look at how price action responded to some of these levels we were watching as it's pretty pretty beautiful today. More so in the second half of the day than the first half. First half, there's some opportunities, obviously, looking at it in hindsight. But in the moment, nothing that I really wanted to see. I'm going to go over these levels really quickly, just real quick, what we were watching today. So the blue levels are all derived from this chart right here. This is an 8-hour bid-ask volume chart. Each one of these represents 8 hours. So pretty much like a session. We have a session, an overnight, pre-market, daily session, etc. And these yellow lines on each of these candles represents the price at which the most volume happened. I use those nodes. I refer to them as like high volume nodes, but I use those as support and resistance as targets for entries, exits, etc. And it worked pretty well. So we'll take a look at kind of what we were watching today, and I think I have something. I think that level might be a little off. It's all right. But the blue levels are all responding to the 8-hour volume, point of control. The two orange levels here and here, kind of hard to see, are the value area high and low, respectively, of the overnight session. And then this level right here, which kind of coincides right with the level that I already had, is the point of control, which is the highest amount of volume that occurred, the price at which the highest amount of volume occurred during the overnight session. So this value area high kind of corresponded really close to a level I already had. The point of control pretty much right on a level that I already had. And then this value area low, you can see how it responded down here. But those are the levels I was watching. I'm not really going to get too specific into it. Just know that I derived these blue lines or blue levels off of the 8-hour time frame. Looking at points of control, you can see kind of what I'm doing. Nothing super fancy there, but it works really, really well with price action. And then yes, we had yesterday's high and low, didn't really come into play. We didn't reach, at least I don't believe we did, or maybe we did, and I just never, there it is. So we did have yesterday's low in play. Yesterday's high did not come into play. Not sure why my level wasn't showing up there on my chart, but let's go over it. Let's just walk through the 5-minute, as that's what I primarily trade off of. So looking at the daily open, all right, I'm gonna zoom out just so we have yesterday's price action to kind of reference. Yesterday we had a big move to the upside. In the after hours we kind of pulled back, pre-market pulled back, and this is where we were to set up the day. We were below yesterday's low of day, and we were, I don't even think that's right. It's not. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. It is. It's from that point right there. So we were below yesterday's low of day. Typically, this is a bearish sign. We were also below the overnight value area, which typically would be a bearish sign. So coming into the day, I had a kind of a mind of looking to the downside. I was thinking about potential shorts if we come up and retest these levels, retest and reject, and make our way back down. But we opened the day with a very strong candle, right? We pulled down maybe 5 points or so, and then we rallied, like 70 points. From there, we are now within the overnight value area. So I'm watching to see, do we respect this value area and remain within it, or do we break out to one side or the other? We saw no resistance at the value area low here. We saw no resistance at the low of yesterday. We saw no resistance at the point of control in this level at 760. And we made our way up and finally found some resistance up here around, I was just calling it 800, but we had that value area high around 98 and then that level off the 8 hour around 95. So just kind of this general range. Came up, found some resistance, pulled back, found some support at that point of control area, and we're kind of just bouncing in between these two. We had news, well, Jerome Powell was testifying to Congress at 10, so not necessarily a news release, but we had some sort of economic news happening. So kind of stayed out of a trade in this range. We had that news candle that spiked its way up and then pulled all the way back down. And after this news candle, based off this price action, it looked like we were respecting this value area high pretty well, in which case I expected us to rotate back down to the point of control or potentially back down to this value area low. So I was watching for maybe a potential setup for a short here, but we came up and closed pretty strong and then closed above that level. That ruled that out for me. So I was looking for a potential short here after we got the news candle, but the way that the candles were closing ruled it out, right? We had long lower wicks and we were closing kind of higher up and then making our way above those levels. So I wanted to see us reject from. So no shorts were in play at this point. Looking back, this would have been a great entry for a long here as we pulled back and held both the value area high and that level. The reason why I did not take that, and I was watching this, is because if I pull up this, so this is the 5 minute, so this is looking at this same price action here. I'll try to make it pretty similar. Looking at the same price action, what do I notice? We have the points of control, right? We have 3 of them, almost 4, kind of right in a row, and they're all right up in here where we expect to see resistance. And if you notice, we get up to this level and then get pushed down, get up to this level, get pushed down, get up to this level, get pushed down. And likewise here, even when we broke above and closed above, we kind of closed right at that level. So there is, and volume was dropping as well as we were pushing up. Volume was dropping, so I didn't really like that as a breakout. And then this following candle, pretty weak, right? Long upper wick, small candle body, point of control is above, the high of the candle body. That tells me that there's definite selling up here. We still haven't broken this swing high or this high on the day. So I wasn't looking for a long here, even after this candle printed and held. And it is increased volume, so that's something to consider as I look back on it. But if I look at the point of control is nearly at the very top of the candle. And it's right around the same area where these other wicks were rejecting. And it didn't close above that level either. So didn't think of a long here. Right after that, we've made a big move to the upside. Once we broke above and looked strong above the value area, I was more bullish, right? I had my bearish bias when we were down here, but after this strength and we broke to the upside, I was looking more for longs. This potentially, but same thing, kind of shooting star candle here, looking a little weak. This next candle, there's no level here. I was actually looking for an entry around 820 if we came and tested this wick, and then also this kind of this volume node of the candle that brought us up here. So we have this fair value gap. I don't necessarily trade fair value gaps, but I think that there is some validity in whenever you get a big move to the upside and you have that fair value gap. I look to see if that volume node is within the fair value gap, right? Because that insinuates that there's some buying volume in that area that sent price higher. I wouldn't mind seeing price pull back and test that, get that buying liquidity for a further move higher. So I actually was looking for an entry at 820 and we didn't quite get there. So that was one thing I was watching. Then we made our way up to this next level, like 865. You see we reject, we start to move sideways. This is the one trade that I did really try to enter, and it was a short, and I was trying to enter at 850, 851, kind of right in here. And the reason being is that we had made our way up, And then we had our first like really bearish candle of the day, right? We had some red candles, but nothing too significant. This engulfed like the previous almost 3 candles, but at least the previous 2. And it was off of a resistance, right? This is the level I was watching for potential resistance. You see the volume nodes kind of shifting higher up in the candle, right around that area where we expect some volume. And then you see that reaction, that price dropping pretty significantly. Once again, similar to the long scenario where I was looking at that fair value gap here and looking for price to return back to the volume node within it, we have the exact same thing here, just to the downside, right? We have a fair value gap there, and then we have that volume node right at like 851-ish. So I was looking to enter there to a short. And why did I want to enter short? It's because we had made a move up. We were rejecting. We had a strong rejection, and we were kind of sitting around this little low. And I figured that if we come up and we retest this volume here, I can enter here and place my stop just above these wicks. That gives me very little risk, about 15, 17 points of risk. And where would I target? Well, I would target for price to return, because we kind of had this big fair value gap. And then we have some price action down here. I was targeting kind of like this 810 area for 810 to possibly 800. So I really like the risk to reward. I like the fact that we came up to this resistance, we rejected. I was also watching this on the 15-minute, right? We were looking pretty bullish until we weren't, and we printed a shooting star on the 15-minute off that resistance. You know, I guess we did it here, and then it turned out to move higher. But it looked to me like we were getting a pullback. A few things. We had kind of a pivot high candle formation here, right? The middle candle of this 3-candle series has higher high, higher low than the 2 to the side of it. We got that rejection off an area where we'd expect a rejection, etc., etc. So I had an order set for 851, I think it was, right at that level. And you can see that price wicked right up close to it, got about to like 848, and didn't fill me. And then price dropped, and you can kind of see how that reacted. So not that I would have caught that whole move, but that would have been a nice move had I gotten in. Maybe I was just a little picky with my entry. I was off by a few points. That was the one trade that I wanted to take. I did not get it. And that was based off price action on the 15-minute, based off price action on the 5-minute, and then based off kind of like the volume on the 5-minute as well. Main reasons, we didn't have a lot of support until down in this area, right? We had this little tiny pullback here, but I figured that if we could break that, we were headed straight to 800. And you see, once we broke it, we kind of held around a little bit, but what did we do? Went and closed right at like 800, and then dropped down to that value area low. So that was the one trade I tried to take. Didn't get the entry I wanted. I was being pretty picky because I wanted to also have low amount of risk, as this was kind of counter to the trend, taking a short on a day that we were making higher highs, higher lows, etc. So that's it. We'll just go through the rest of the price action really quickly. I'll be brief. You see we fell back down into this value area and then respected it pretty well, right? We came down, hit that value area low, rotated right back up towards that value area high, pulled back to the point of control, went and broke that value area high, held that value area high for a move higher, broke back down, kind of almost made it to the point of control. And right now where we are in the after hours is we are kind of rejecting off this level and this value area high. So I think there was some cleaner price action, like this bounce was really nice. This rejection was pretty nice. This hold of the point of control and move higher was really nice. And any of these could have landed you a pretty nice move. If you got in around, 760 and you target this rotation back up to this level, that's, 35 points right there. That's not bad. Even the break and hold of this right here, if you get in, say value area high at 78 or 98, excuse me, and then it moves up into here, 830, that's over like 40 points. So there's some nice moves. We got a nice move from here, from this level to this level. I just didn't really like what I was seeing in terms of price action and volume. Things looked still a little bit weak, and I wasn't really a big believer at this point. But yeah, that's it for me on the day. No trades. Happy to have not forced anything today. Tried to get a good entry, didn't get it. If you look at where these wicks are, if I was off by just a few points. You know, it could have been an absolute sniper entry for a move down, but can't win them all. And I'm happy to end the day with a absolute zero profit and loss, no change. We are where we are, and yeah, looking to see if maybe tomorrow brings a little bit better opportunities, or maybe I just see things a little bit more clearly. Hopefully. That's it. That's all I got. I appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Peace.